Hey, how you doing? This is Mike from Monarch Roofing coming to you live from Monarch Roofing World Headquarters on sunny South Main Street, Middletown, Connecticut. Our last video, we talked about attic ventilation, the math on how we need to figure out what we need for attic ventilation, how most gable vents are insufficient, and how attic ventilation impacts the warranty of your new roof. Now we're going to talk about how we achieve proper ventilation. As we talked about before, the best way of ventilating an attic is eave to ridge, where the air comes in down at the soffit by your gutters, vents up under your roof deck, and exhausts through the ridge, right? So sometimes we find homes where they have ridge vents added and gable vents because it was originally a gable vented house and someone came along and added ridge vent to it. And that's not right either, because what happens there is air gets sucked in through the gable vents, goes out the ridge vent, and down at the eaves, all that air remains stagnant all the time. Mold builds up on the deck, bad situation. So if your house doesn't have soffits or doesn't have vented soffits, which most homes, if they have vented soffits, they already have a ridge vent because it's more of a modern construction, so you would see that on your home. But if you don't have either, if you just have ridge vent, then we would need to add a vent down at the eave. So we use this product. It's called Edge Vent. It's a CertainTeed product. It sits right down on top of the drip edge. We cut a slot about 6 inches up from the edge of the roof. This gets nailed on top of it. Our ice and water shield covers it. Starter shingles, roof shingles, you barely ever know it's there. Very slim, works great, provides 8 net-free square inches of ventilation per linear foot. Each stick is 4 feet. It does need to be continuous to meet code, so it would be all the way across the front, all the way across the back, and that takes care of your intake ventilation needs. Now at the top, we put a ridge vent. If you have one, we replace it when we replace the roof. If you don't have one, then we cut it in. Either case, we add this. This is CertainTeed's Air Vent 2, which is the ridge vent. We cut 2-inch slot on either side of the ridge. This matches this perfectly. So this gives you 8 square inches of net-free ventilation per side. So you got 8 square inches coming in here. You got 8 square inches going out here. Same thing on the back. Both have filters to keep bugs and dust and allergens out. Both have baffles cast into the plastic, so any wind-driven rain that blows up inside just hits like a dead end and runs back out down the roof. Can't get into your attic. The shingle caps go on top of this, so it looks great, matches your roof perfectly, works great. This vent actually has this little airfoil on it. You can see that. What that does is when wind blows across the roof, it hits the airfoil and spins, and that spinning air draws and sucks the air out of your attic. So it's not just relying on convection, it's actually helping to pull some air through your attic. Now another way to ventilate that I see sometimes is an attic fan, a little mushroom fan you see up on the roof. Some people have these. They usually tell us they want them to go. I recommend that they go. Some people want to replace them, so we will replace them if they're adamant about it, but I don't recommend it. The reason I don't recommend it is that they suck so much air out of the attic that they will usually overwhelm your ventilation system, turn everything into intake. So it's the only exhaust, right? It's sucking air in your ridge vent, it's sucking air in your edge vents, and it's also sucking air from inside your house. So all that air that you paid to cool down or heat up, it's taken out of your house, pulling it into the attic and throwing it out. So when do I need ventilation, Mike, right? When do I have to have ventilation? Any conditioned space needs ventilation, unless you have closed cellular spray foam directly applied to the bottom of the roof deck. If you have that, no moisture can get at the roof deck, you don't need ventilation. Any non-conditioned space, a garage, a porch, where there's no heating or cooling, you don't need ventilation because there's no condensation to build up in there. It's all the same temperature, right? The attic isn't a different temperature from the house. So in closing, you need eave to ridge ventilation for any proper roof install and to get any warranty from any manufacturer on the market. So for a happy, healthy home, call Monarch Roofing and eave to ridge ventilation.